Okay, we have NFL executives sharing thoughts on Cowboys draft. I know how much you love the anonymous GMs just firing, right?
We absolutely. Hey, you want to? Hey, I'll be glad to talk to you, man, but don't put my name with it, okay?
Yeah,
Off the
I'll
record,
tell you anything you want to know.
I'll tell you everything you want to know about everybody else's team but my team, but let's go off the record if we can.
We do go to The Athletic for this great piece of journalism, and they give you stuff on every team. So if you wanted to jump in there and look at a different team, that'd be your spot there, the New York Times Athletic website. But execs did not share some analyst concerns that Dallas failed to draft a receiver was one of their big takeaways, saying the quote from a GM there, an executive, "I don't know why everyone wants them to take a receiver so bad when they have one they are paying $34 million a year to. There are always wideouts out there, and you have a guy that demands coverage." So kind of going with the idea that, hey, as long as you got that one player that the defense has to react to and double team, then you've set yourself up for success, and job done, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a coaching staff that helps set the other guys up, and if you just have your standard average wide receiver 2, 3, and 4, but you don't really have that. Like you have, I like the element that Turpin brings to the table, the explosiveness, and hopefully they're more creative in the way they get him the football, but you don't have guys that can just win. Like Mingo's not winning routes. Tolbert's not winning routes. You don't even have, like, all the guys that you have that are your 2s and 3s and 4s, they're really all 4s.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the drop from CeeDee Lamb to the next guy is so big that it absolutely matters.
Yes.
And hopefully the new staff has an understanding of how to, create opportunities for these guys schematically to get them open, because these guys can't they're not beating man coverage consistently. Absolutely not.
I wonder if Amari Cooper will wait until July, because I would love to get the guys in through OTAs and see if anybody has made a leap, that would make us confident. Hey, let's give this guy a shot here. Flournoy comes back with like a Miles Austin type of offseason. He's ready to go be an all-pro receiver. Let's plug this guy in, plug that guy in. And then if it's not there, then maybe we look at Amari Cooper in the offseason, because I don't want to go into week one like this.
No, you can't. No. I really don't. I don't think you can. Not if you want to be serious about your season.
Yeah. Dallas' first 2 picks, Booker and Ezeraku, were team captains in college.
Yeah, that was big.
Quote, "They got the best guard in the draft. They got a pass rusher opposite Parsons who can actually win with speed." An executive said their pass rush is going to be a pain in the bleep to deal with. The corner they got in the 3rd round, Ravel, might have gone in the back end of the 1st if he had never gotten hurt.
Absolutely right.
You think Ravel goes in the 20s?
Oh,
if he's unhurt?
Yeah, he was likely. I think he would have been the first corner off the board. So whenever I'm trying to, off the top of my head, didn't know when the first corner went in this draft, but I mean that's kind of what
was it. Hairston?
Yeah,
from Kentucky.
So it was a little bit later in the draft, and it was in the 20s then.
Buffalo at like 28.
Yeah, it was extremely late. So
took a while. Panthers.
Oh well, Jahdae Barron. Excuse me, Jahdae Barron with the Broncos.
What was that?
20.
That
22. Did they move back 2 spots?
20.
Oh, yeah,
but it's still in the 20s though, is where it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then they talk about the Panthers' decision to take Ted McMillan at 8, doomed a slew of mock drafts that had Dallas taking him. But they say, quote, "Booker's huge and he can knock people back, but he does run out of gas some," another executive said.
Sure.
Maybe endurance. "We liked the corner they took, that he can change the angle of the ball arriving like Seattle used to do with those taller corners."
Sure.
Classic.
Yeah, I mean, the wingspan is through the roof there. That's a great point about him. Like, quarterbacks are going to have to think twice about the way they float balls in when you have a guy with that type of length.
Yeah.
Okay, we have some locker room changes coming in here for the Cowboys. Micah Parsons moving next to Dak. CeeDee Lamb taking Zach Martin's locker room spot. Terrence Steele taking Tank Lawrence's old locker. So you're bringing your leaders from both sides of the ball over there with Mike and Dak.
Do they have leader lockers? Do they have leadership lockers that look and feel and play a little bit different in there?
Put them in the corners.
It's just a location thing.
Prominent spots by the door.
You know what? I think what's going to drive. Well, they make these guys and gals now interview. A lot of the big ones have to do their interviews outside the locker room. There was a time where if you were next to a player that, like a Dak Prescott, or you were next to a quarterback or running back, receiver, big time player, you had all those media crowding around your locker.
That was undesirable.
Yeah, you're like, you did not want to be next to some guy who was having to deal with the media.
Well, that's going to
You're
be a
having
hot
to-
spot with Dak and Micah there. That's just going to be
Well,
cameras and
they take them
microphones.
outside. They make them interview
Oh, they do
outside
that. Okay.
outside the locker room. So that's kind of a thing that they've done now to try and limit some access to being in the locker room.
Man, I'd have been hot as a pro athlete if I came back to my locker after a shower and I had to like ask a blogger to step aside so I could get to my clothes. It's just very awkward in those situations. You see it happen all the time?
Yeah, it's constant.
But yeah, I wonder if Ezeraku, the team captain, is going to move in as the leader of this offense. Like, I think he and Micah Parsons' relationship is quite interesting coming in.
It is. It is. If I remember a real quick story, if I could, Marion Barber, like we were interviewing, I think it was Tank. We were interviewing him, and all of a sudden, like Marion Barber had aerosol deodorant, and it was in that area. Just completely missed the underarms. He was just spraying it.
It's like repellent, blogger repellent.
Like in everybody's face. Like we're standing there, and like Marion Barber's got his arms. He just like
hit the smoke screen on Spy Hunter.
It's just going like everybody's asking questions, and now it's in their eyes.
The biggest shock of all this is that the Barbarian used deodorant. Just thought he might have been a
au naturel kind of guy.
Yeah,
I could see that. We have some quotes from Cowboys rookies here. Tyler Booker on already signing his rookie deal. Only took him a week. He said, we are both on the same page. We know this rookie contract, Lord willing, is just the first couple I have coming in front of me. I told my agent, let's get this thing done. I'm ready to go to work. It's always weird when a player holds out like into training camp of the rookie deal because the framework is there.
Right.
You're going to get this amount of money, but there's a couple of things that if you want to negotiate hard, you can. But apparently, Booker and the team on the same page early on, and he's anxious to get to work. Texas A&M Shamar Stewart says he was shocked the Cowboys didn't take him at 12, Brian. Said, I had a great meeting with Jerry. The D-line coach texted me a few days out and said he wanted to get on the phone and talk to my dad. He proceeded to reach out to my dad and tell him how much he loved me. So it was a shock. At the end of the day, it's God's plan. I'm never going to question God's plan. Whatever He's got for me, He's got for me. But didn't go at 12. Yeah,
they knew that McMillan was not going to be there, and Booker was their guy the whole time. They knew that they were prepared that they weren't going to have a shot at McMillan, and so they honed in on Booker, and he was there.
That's a guy in Shamar Stewart who ended up in Cincinnati, right?
Yeah,
he's feeling that. He's like, man, I could have been a Cowboy. Now I'm out here in Cincinnati with the skyline chili and nothing else. Jamar Chase loves Cincinnati because there's no distractions. # nothing to do.
Yeah, that's a tough interview, because you're probably thinking, holy cow, this is going to come. And you can see on the faces of the family members when a Cowboy family gets drafted into the Cowboys.
They're hyped, dude.
They are.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're absolutely hyped.
And you think that's about to happen?
Agents got to be better, though, about warning their guys. Like, hey, this happened. These coaches, these GMs, they're schmoozing you the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
There's stories every year about, this team said they were definitely going to draft me, and then next thing I know, I'm in the second round.
And it's no knock on the coaches. He's probably trying to learn more so we can have more ammunition for convincing the rest of the room that this is our guy.
There you go. When you go into the room and you're trying to sell a player, like
I talked to his dad, man. He's amazing too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that could. But I don't know. Maybe as that coach, I'd call back and be like, "Hey, wanted to let you know that it's not going to come together for you. Sorry about that." Todd Archer writing about Brian Schottenheimer's draft strategy. The headline: Schotty's draft focus, adding leaders to Cowboys roster, and it's just more on the whole leadership deal. And Schotty's approach was, I think we've got outstanding football players that just happen to have incredible intangibles in leadership. It goes a long way. He says some of the best players I've ever been around, LaDainian Tomlinson, Drew Brees, they weren't just great players. They were great people. They were great leaders. My take is just I hope you don't sacrifice talent at all for that. I think sometimes Jason Garrett went after the RKG too much, the right kind of guy, and I think focusing on leadership while you're developing is smart, but just don't get carried away with that. And I think you at some point, like you can think that we're going to lead ourselves into being more talented, and I think that's tough,
Yeah. I think for like a draft, when you're trying to reestablish a culture, you're shoddy coming in. Hey, I want to kind of get an influx of these type of dudes. And then you kind of become a little bit more lax on that over time.
Yeah. Like I need great players who are also leaders. We're not taking any leaders who are just okay players because you can't lead if you're not great. Right?
Exactly.
You can kind of lead by example and be a great soldier, but nobody's going to admire you enough to follow you unless you're balling.